always into like making things and doing stuff with my hands, so I always drew a lot. A couple of my friends were also really into painting and doing stuff, so we'd actually just get together on weekends and just like work together on different things. So when I went to art school, like I just was exposed to so much contemporary art and was excited about it that, you know what I mean, my interest in drawing and painting sort of dwindled and moved into other areas. Underwear is pretty much attached to like masculinity and being a boy, and that I just had an interest in that and had an interest in it, and that I used to take my friend's underwear. I used to just sort of steal it because I was kind of like crushed out on him and didn't want to say anything to him, and yeah, one day I just stole a pair. So we had a like sort of like a sculpture class on making sort of object-based work, and they're like bring an object that has no real functional purpose, just like that it's a loaded object or whatever, and the underwear was probably the only thing that I had taken from my house that was really just an object. Like I didn't really wear them or anything. They just sort of sat in my drawer. So I brought them, and it really started from there, you know, because I mean it was just naive, and then I just sort of realizing what all of that meant to me and what it was about, like, you know what I mean, what kind of a history underwear can have for different people. It's like a medical mask, or I guess now known as a SARS mask. Little tensor bandages come in different sizes, bigger ones. These are little condom holders that can go on your belt loops. I think it's a pretty common fetish, sure. And I think, you know, it's obvious why it would be a common fetish. Like, you know, we live in a Western society where people are pretty inhibited, and, you know, a fetish is something that just simply replaces what's underneath. I started DJing pretty much out of necessity. I listened to the Smiths and the Cure when I was really young, but I also listened to like the Dead Kennedys and, you know, the Misfits and Black Flag and stuff like that when I was really young. So I've always had a pretty mixed up taste of music, you know what I mean? No one was bringing any queer performers to Toronto. Not any kind, not even on a mainstream level. So I was just like, well, I could probably do this. It was just like a matter of just taking things into your own hands. I'm interested in sort of all forms of live performance, be it drag kings, drag queens, bands, you know what I mean, like performance art. When I started doing events, there wasn't a whole lot of culture that was queer per se happening outside of the confines of the ghetto, you know. If you wanted to go and see something gay, you had to go to a 3-block radius. And to me, that felt like living in a box. So it was really important for me to just have events in places in the city where people actually hang out, that aren't ghettoized or marginalized. When I started doing Vaseline, I was like, finally there could be a space where you could do pretty much fucking anything, and no one's gonna turn their nose up at you. They're gonna be like, great, I love the fact that you're walking around wearing nothing, you know, except a cock ring. Great, that's excellent, you know, that's cool. I'm into that. Like, you know, we're not gonna shit on you for that. They have fun, you know what I mean? I hope people meet other people and network and find other people who have interests other than just like picking someone up and wanting to fuck them. Like, you know what I mean? That's fine and great, it's totally entertaining, but like, you know, so many avenues in our community to do that. You know, I'm not gonna throw an event that's exclusively for card-carrying queers, right? Like, you know, and I feel like if someone is heterosexual, straight, whatever, and they come to Vaseline, Vaseline is a pretty queer event, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're into watching, you know what I mean, a giant projection of someone getting fucked, then you're probably a pretty okay person. And I sort of feel like there's no reason for segregation in our community. I mean, if queer culture is to grow, it has to be a part of the outside world and the rest of the world. And so take it out of that fucking box. You know, I hope that people like take some comfort home in finding that like there are other people out there, you know, that that there are a lot of freak flags flying in Toronto, and that, you know what I mean, the freakier it is, you know, the more interesting it gets. I mean, I think that that's, for me, what I hope people at least take home with them. And the other thing is that they get a grasp of that culture isn't all mainstream. There's a lot of unmediated, good, interesting, underground, independent culture that happens to also be queer that's happening around the world, and that you don't get to see it that easily. And I think it's those pretty simple moments that people don't realize are so important to everyone's lives. You know, and it's one of those things that people will realize when there's not an event or not a scene or not culture like that happening. Because they are very transcendental things, they'll just disappear. You know, and if someone doesn't pick up that torch, then it's gone. You know, it's just on video and it's just on, you know what I mean, like paper, and that's it.
Will Munro.